Hi, this is Ed from Computer Science. So this time we're doing lesson 3 of our Python video course. So last time we made this program that had functions. So a very beautiful program, and put all our functions at the top and a little main at the end that called all the functions. So the recapping, the purpose of a function is to execute programming statements one by one and have a dedicated purpose. This one dedicated person is print a welcome message. This dedicated purpose, enter name from the keyboard. This dedicated purpose, enter age from the keyboard. This program function is to display a name and age. So the name of the function and what it does is very, very similar. And the main just calls the functions. So this is very, very organized programming. All programs should be like this. Fortunately, they're not. Not all schools teach how to do this, but I think this is the way to go. So now we're going to introduce classes. So the main purpose of a class is to store data, and classes organize your data. Classes can have many variables, and classes have state functions associated with them to do operations on the data variables. So when schools teach us, they always talk behavior, and I don't think that's a good word because it's too vague, it's too abstract. I think operations is a better word because the operations are changing the data, reading the data, writing the data. So these are operations that you do with these variables. Behavior is not a good word. Anyways, we can't tell these schools how they teach. They're such powerful people, right? So now we introduce class. So the purpose of a class is to store data. Make sure you write that down. For the university students, we are very theoretical. For the people who are learning programming that aren't university students, we're more general. We concentrate more on doing and understanding. University, the theoretical world, they have no clue what the practical world is. To them, the whole world is theoretical. The problem is the solution is a theoretical, practical solution. It's not just all theory. You can't solve everything with theory, but you need theory to solve problems. So practical and theory, they go together. So a class stores data, and you see data as variables or data variables. And has operations, has functions to do operations on the data. Like I say, data variables. Data is so vague and variables is so specific. So we'll call them data variables. That's what they are, variables that store data, right? Okay, how we make the class? We go class, and we're going to make a person class because lesson 1 and 2 are about people. So we're going to have a person class, and we can do colon because Python is a colon language. And we want to initialize our person with a name and an age. So it's def. Oh, first time I've seen this. There's 2 underscores, by the way. And we got to put self here. I always tell students, don't forget the self. But every time we teach this lesson on Skype, we always forget the self. It's so easy to forget. Even I program. It's other languages have the self, but it's not. It's more implicit, whereas the Python is more explicit. You actually have to write it in. So this guy's going to get a name and age. So Python's a script language. It's not a real language, just a script language. But since it's so easy to use, everyone uses it. So self again, self dot name equals name. Okay, and then if you were on the Skype version, I would make you do the next self dot age equals age. But since it's a video course, no one's doing it for me. I have to do it for you. Okay, you can do it before me. You don't have to wait for me to do it. Okay, so our initialize is done. So what's this person class going to do? So let's put a comment. I know last time we put the comment saying we didn't run the program. So going to wait to run the program. So here, the same thing. We don't have much time on these videos because we get charged by the megabytes. So we gotta do two things at once. So person class. So the class is capitals. You should always use capitals. Many schools don't, but I think capitals are good. Person class to store a name and age. Because the person has a name and an age. And that's what we want to store. Where are these name and ages? They're right here. There's the name, there's the age. Self means belonging to this person class. We have many persons, so the self will point to each one. And here's the name coming in. These are parameters. They're inputs. This name goes here. This age goes, well, goes to there. He gives it him. Okay. So that's done now. Little comment here. Initialize person with name and age. Okay, so now our person is going to have a name and age, values. Okay, I can put the word values here. Okay, the more comment you have, the more clarification you have. Okay, that's done. So in the theoretical world, these people are supposed to be private. No one's supposed to use it. So you need these getters and setters. Okay, so we do the getters first. Okay, so getters get data. So we can put a comment there for you as well. Getters get data that is stored in the class. Okay, this is purpose for getters. So we make one getter, and then you make the other one. So it's def, and we call it get name. The Java people like the word get. And then you got to put the self here. If you don't put the self, it doesn't know which person it is. So I always forget the self. And return self dot name. If you don't put the self, it doesn't know who name is. So in Python, self is number one. Look at all these selves. So many selves. It's like other languages, they're built in for you. You don't have to type them in. But Python, I guess they added it to the language, so they don't really have any choice. They need these selves. Or change the language. Maybe they're going to change in a new version. So we just copy and paste here. I say copy and paste people will never be good programmers. But anyways, There, get age now. Just return the age now. So that's easy. Okay, we can say, I like this word retrieve. Retrieve name. Okay, and this retrieve age. Okay. Then we make the setters. Its job is to assign new information. So, you know, you gotta realign these, even these comments gotta be lined up. It's indentation is so important. Setters. Assign new values to the data stored in the class. So you're lucky I'm a slow typer, so it can keep up with me. Okay. So let's make a setter. So it's def. Wow. Def. Set name. So the underscore is easier to use. You don't have to put capital letters and stuff like that. And it needs the self, also does know which person it is, and it needs the name that you want to change. So I guess they got a name change. I guess it's not too expensive. And it's going to be very similar to here. Look, very, very similar to this one. Oh, just copy that one. Oh, that's easy for us. There. So we got lined it up. So I copied it. I lose my indentation. Indentation is so important. It's like I spend hours and hours fixing indentation. Somebody should write a program, automatic indentation. Some languages have that formatting, auto formatter. I never seen one for Python. Okay, so it's gonna be set age now. See, I can just copy paste. I tell you, copy paste people will never be good programmers. But most people copy paste. People working, they copy paste all day long. So they get their programs done quite fast. Okay, great. Now we gotta assign new name. And this one's going to be assign new age. Okay, that's done now. And the last thing we need to do, we're going to end up soon this lesson. They charge us for megabytes now. So we want to make a display function. Display person info. I always call it display person. How's that sound? So this is built into Python. So we don't really need to give it a name. It's already got a name. It's very, very famous. So I'm sure you have to remember this. So it's underscore underscore str underscore underscore round brackets and the little colon and the little self. See, I almost forgot the self. We always forget the self. Every time we teach this lesson, we always forget the self. So we'll make this a little not too complicated. We're just going to say return my name is. So I have to sneeze now. Sorry. And we have to use the plus sign. This is joining operators, joining strings together. So the string, it needs strings. So the plus is joining strings together, just like it adds numbers together. Here's adding strings together. So name is a string, we're okay. It's the age is the most trouble one. So we need a little little space here, else it could be too squishy. You can say I am, and then a little plus again. You need the word string again. It will convert the age into a string. So we don't want age to be a string. We want it to be a number in case we have to add names together or compare them. So we really need make it to a string, years old. So when students do this, they don't put the spacing in, and then when they run it, they see they need spaces, but that's good because they're learning to put spaces in. Okay, it's done now. Now, biggest problem is this could be self.name. See, already forgot the selves. So we never do this right. Always do it wrong. Okay, other language you don't need the selves, but this language you need it. Also, just know which person it is. Okay, great. So it's done now. We still need all these functions. Welcome, enter name, enter age. These are input output. We don't put input output in our classes. Classes just for data only. So just remember that. Classes is for data only, not for input output. Even our string is not an output. It's got no print statement. It just returns a string, which makes sense because if you're in a cell phone, you can't say print. Print. I mean, impossible. The cell phone has a display. You can't say print. I guess you could print to a printer. You just send a message from your cell phone. So we don't want our classes of input output. We want to be independent. So its job is to store data. It has no other purpose in life. It's to store data. Like the initializer, its purpose in life is to initialize the data that you want to store in a class. Okay, so we'll now make the person object. So the class is a definition, just like the architect who draws a picture of a house. And the builder, he makes a house, and that becomes the object. So same deal here. We define what a person is, and then we have to make the person. So when we make the person, we're allocating memory for the class variables. So display one, we don't need anymore. We just comment it out. We still keep it here. We don't want to hurt its feelings, and we just leave it there, even though we're not going to use it. And now we got to make the person object. So you need to remember this the rest of your life. Objects are made from class definitions. Okay. Objects are memory allocated for the variables defined in the class. Okay, just like an architect draws a picture of houses and how many rooms. So the rooms could be, I guess, the variables of the house, but they have to build the house. Here we have only memory. Our computer only has memory. So we use the memory to make the objects. Okay. So we can make a person now. Well, these videos really take time, eh? So we see P equals person, and a person needs a name and age. Who will give us the name and age? So we got some people that will do that for us. They've been they just been loading around here. So we got these people. Look, we have the enter name person. We have the enter age person. So these functions can give us a name and age. Look, and we call the function here, get the name, and we got the age. So we got the name, we got the age. So we put name here, and we put a comma separators, and we can just print a person out, print P. So when you say print P, it's actually calling the str automatically. So most languages do this. They will call their toString or their string or whatever they call it. The self tells you which object it is. In our case, it's going to be the P object. If you don't have the self, it doesn't know which object it is. So when we make another one, self will point to another one, like maybe a P2. So let's see if this runs. Sometimes it doesn't work the first time, and sometimes it does. So we're just going to run it. Well, so far, we seem to be able to enter Tom's name. And he's 24 for the last 20 years now. Oh, there it is. My name is Tom. I am 24 years old. So programming is all connections. So when I see this line, I make the connection automatically to this statement right here. There's my connection. There's my name is, which is down here. My name is. There's Tom, which is the name, which is here. Self.name, because the self is really the P now. If you don't, it doesn't know which object it is, but it's like another implicit thing. When you say P equals person, it's really saying person P name age. Anyways, or when you say P, it's really P string P. So it's just implicit. And there's I am, there's the string, there's the age, and years old. So programming is all connections. Programming is all doing. If you can make these connections, you'd be a very, very good programmer. If you cannot make the connections, then you have to work on it. But not everyone can be a good programmer. Not everyone can make $1 million on the internet. People who do, they're only like grade 5 education. They just know how to do it. And they get these people's PhDs and all their equations and everything. They all lose money, but I'm sure some make money. Okay, so make another person. Call it P2. Make this a hard-coded person. So use the class definition person. So it's good to have capitals for the class. Then you don't get mixed up between a variable and a class name. We'll call Sue. I think Sue is Tom's girlfriend. And she's 23 for the last 15 years too. These people don't get old at all. They've been teaching this for so many years. Okay. And then we can print the P2 out. Okay. So now the P2 is the self. So when we call this one, we have separate memory areas for this P, different name and age, and another memory area of this P2, another memory locations for Sue and P. And now we run this one. So it's going to be Tom again. Tom's 24. And there's Sue, right? Sue, and she's 23. So it's hard-coded. This is from the keyboard. So our little program from lesson 1 was just the main. Then lesson 2, we made the functions. In lesson 3, we have the classes. So that's all for today. And then if you have the transcript, you can download where you got this video from. It should be beside it somewhere. And just explains everything one by one. I like the recapping here. So you just recapping, find very important. And the same thing we did in the lesson, explains everything step by step. And there's a homework question to do. The people taking the interactive course do the homework, and we discuss it next lesson. The people doing the self-study, they do it on their own, they send it in. And the people in video, they can do the homework and send it in. I guess we will have to give you the email. I never, anyways. So you do the homework, you send it in. The problem with the video, we can't take it up next class, but you can always make an appointment and we discuss your homework. So we charge $15 an hour. We make our money helping people with their homework. We don't make money on the lessons. They're all free. They've been free for 20 years. So it's a convenience to students. But we find with the homework help, once they find us, they're there forever. So they start from their first year of university till last year, or high school students start grade 9, sometimes grade 7 and 8, to grade 12, and then we go to university, we still got them. So okay, so we gotta end this because that we have only certain amount of megabytes before they start charging us. Okay, so end it now, and then next lesson, lesson 4, we do the inheritance. Okay, see you then. Okay, bye bye.